Welcome inside the trophy lobby here at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, where Ryan Day just held his first press conference of 2024, and certainly a lot of ground to cover. A lot has happened since we had last talked to Ryan Day at the Cotton Bowl, and obviously the big question right now is Bill O'Brien still going to be Ohio State's offensive coordinator this year? And the answer is we really don't know right now, but one thing that Ryan Day does seem very sure of is that he's not going to continue calling the offensive plays this year. But whether it's Bill O'Brien or someone else new that has to come in to be the offensive coordinator, but Ryan Day feels like it is time for him to give up that responsibility with everything else that a head coach now has to do in college football.
Right, and I think that, he talked about not wanting to give up those duties, how it's something that he still loves about coaching, loves the football side, the IQ side, the scheme side, but knows that, in his words, he can't be pulled away from the NIL front or from the recruiting front or whatever, because he's got to worry about 3rd and 4 from the 21-yard line. So I've definitely, I think, a good introspective look for Day to figure out that change is needed. Now, talking more on the offense, I think one thing that was interesting to discuss with Day today was talking about, the future of certain guys at certain positions. And one of those we talked about was Josh Fryer. Seems that the possibility is there that he could move inside to guard, although he's still practicing at tackle, it sounds like. But they're still trying to figure out those spots on the offensive line. And then on that same note, Sonny Styles on the defensive side is another player that the staff is evaluating where the best fit is for him positionally going forward. And so some of those conversations were had today alongside a lot of transfer discussion as well.
Yeah, as you would expect, a lot of, competition coming up in the spring, not a lot of declarations about who's going to be a starter and whatnot just yet. That stuff will start to play out more a month from now. But, one thing I did think was interesting when he was asked about Will Howard was he said, we feel like the defense needs to be able to account for a running threat at quarterback. And that's maybe something that Ohio State didn't have as much the last few years. And so for Ryan Day to acknowledge that when he was asked about Will Howard suggests that they do want the quarterback to run the ball a little bit more this year. It's not going to be running the ball 20 times a game, but they do want the quarterback to have that running threat that the defense has to be aware of, and he feels like every quarterback on the roster has that now. So I think, that's a lens a little bit into the reasoning behind bringing in a Will Howard and moving on from a Kyle McCord, who was the starter last year.
Right, and we've talked about it before. If you can create some eye violations with the linebackers, it just opens things up for Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins to find more space to run the ball this year. I think one of the other really big notes from this presser was talking with Day about what they're going to do with that final assistant coaching staff spot. We've considered that, you may look at promoting James Laurinaitis to be your full-time linebackers coach. You may look at adding another defensive assistant, possibly, and another defensive line coach to kind of come in and learn from Larry Johnson. But Ryan Day today said that he could go either way in terms of it being that or a special teams coordinator, like bringing in someone to replace Parker Fleming. So what they're going to do with that 10th assistant coaching staff spot is going to be a very interesting storyline to follow, and whether that's a defensive assistant or another special teams coordinator.
Yeah, and I think we've kind of assumed that James Laurinaitis would be the most likely hire, but the fact that hire hasn't happened yet tells you that they're still considering some things over. But certainly James Laurinaitis, he just walked through here while we were in the lobby. He's someone, one way or another, that's going to be a part of his staff and who's very valued by Ohio State as somebody who brings a lot of value both as a position coach and as a recruiter. Should note, as we were recording here, we saw Bill O'Brien walk here through the lobby too. So Bill O'Brien is here right now. As of now, he's still Ohio State's offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. Certainly the way Ryan Day talked today would suggest that he has some optimism that Bill O'Brien is going to still be here, but that Boston College coaching search still playing out. So we'll see how that ultimately unfolds and if Ohio State has to go back to looking for another offensive coordinator. But right now, I think Ryan Day feels pretty good about the staff he has and just kind of has to fill that one remaining spot.
Yeah, and feeling good, I think it's just generally the dichotomy between what it was like talking to Ryan Day after that Cotton Bowl, the feeling of just the aura around this program, and now after everyone's come back, after we've added these transfers, we didn't even discuss, he got a chance to really talk up Caleb Downs today and just his exceptional talent. And, I think that just the feeling of positivity around this program was another stark thing to really feel coming out of this press conference, and how Ryan Day has taken a look and made some changes that needed to be made. And I think that, again, there's just a much more positive vibe about the team right now. That's partially a symptom of February, but also just all the additions they made this offseason.
Lots of ground to cover. We'll talk more about on Real Pod Wednesdays, which will be up on the YouTube page and on different audio platforms here later today, and lots of coverage to come, lots of articles to come on 11warriors.com. So stay tuned with us there. Thanks for listening in, and we'll catch you next time.